in British criminal history. You might have seen it highlighted again because of this programme in the newspapers today.
Yes, well, tonight a father and his lone surviving daughter help us appeal about the attack 8 weeks ago in which someone bludgeoned his wife and his other child to death, along with the family dog. Sean Russell is a university lecturer. He's a botanist. His wife, Lynn, was a geologist. And the girls were described as cheerful, bright and popular at school. The tragedy happened on a footpath coming home from school in one of the most rural and scenic parts of Kent. Lynn and her 6-year-old daughter Megan died. Josie, who's 9, survived, though with serious head injuries.
Megan and Josephine had a very bright and happy future ahead of them. It had changed my priorities in life from pursuing work
Megan, Josie, come and have a
to
look
putting
at
my
this.
family first.
Isn't it gorgeous? Look at
Both of us, Lynn and I, were surprised that they were such lovely children. Maybe we felt that we were a bit, being scientists, we were a bit precise and unemotional. But the children turned out to be very loving.
So it goes like that. That's right. That, then that, then that, then that. That's right, and there's a little tiny bug inside. Yeah. Come on, let's go and look at the larkspur. Don't think you've seen those, have you? No. Why are you too busy playing tag? I'll show you now.
My wife was, well, I've had so many wonderful letters from people around the world saying how much they admired her, how strong a character she was, how principled. She was very academically brilliant, but from the minute Josephine was born, she gave up her job and she became completely committed to bringing up the family.
Hey, how was the swimming? Yeah, it was really good. Ashley won.
Oh, excellent. Well
you should have
done.
seen me, Mum.
Oh, what about you? Oh, dear. Never mind. Better luck next time.
That Tuesday the 9th of July, Lynn picked up her children from the village school at Goodnestone. They regularly walked home, a half an hour's jaunt across the country. About 20 minutes later, 4:20, a driver suffering from hay fever remembers a woman, 2 girls and a dog joining the Aylsham to Staple Road. This is Buckland Lane near Goodnestone, some 8 miles outside Canterbury. The date again, Tuesday the 9th of July. Were you around here at that time? Do you remember seeing the Russells or anyone else?
Look, can you see it there?
Isn't
there.
it
There's
cute?
a rabbit. Oh, isn't it sweet? Come on then.
And it's gone. Pasta and some what, salad? And cheese. All right.
The last steps taken by the Russells were along this track, used regularly by locals, known as Cherry Garden Lane.
Look, when we get in, you 2 rush upstairs and get changed, and I'll get to...
Flowers still mark the spot where the family was attacked. Lynn and Megan died, as did the dog. Josie was so badly injured that at first she was thought to be dead too. Since the murders 2 months ago, police have pieced together a great deal, but they now need new leads on 3 separate sightings. The first is back along the Aylsham to Staple Road. A woman came across a beige car pulling away from a junction that led to the murder scene.
It was going really slowly.
Come on.
So slow that I had to brake and change down gears. And then I was right behind him.
What are you looking at?
I noticed that he was looking at me from his wing mirror.
Yes.
He looked so agitated and really angry. And even when I turned to go around the corner, I noticed that he was still looking at me to check if I was going to follow him.
About half a mile away, there's a local landmark outside Chillenden village. At about the same time, a woman was driving out of the village on Cave Lane and approaching the windmill when she saw a man standing by the road. She then saw him cross the road. His path may have taken him from the murder scene in these woods. He was heading roughly towards the Rolling Court area, about half a mile away. That's where a farm worker saw a car.
That's when I noticed a man standing at the end of his car, looking around, acting suspicious. He was up and down the bank, looking across the fields, all around him.
Like the one seen earlier, the car was beige.
He started to jog down the road towards my direction, so I looked away because I didn't want to see him staring at me. Right? When I looked back up, he was running back towards his car. It's just the way the man was acting, really, like, suspicious. I knew he'd been up to something, either hiding something. Just didn't know at the time. I took the dog round for a walk, about a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes after. Walking up, and I was looking where he was parked, where he was standing. And then the dog pulled in towards the edge, and I noticed a bag being stuffed in the bushes.
The bag contained blood-stained strips of towel, and the blood was from the Russells. In every sense, the family has been destroyed.
I could never have that again. Not as full and complete a family life. I don't believe I'll ever find that again. It's like hopefully, half of my life has come to an end and I start a new half from a much more impoverished point. The gold I have left is Josephine. Mid to late July. I just have to look at her to see the way she's got better so quickly. That's what gives me strength to carry on. But I cannot make head nor tail of why a woman and 2 children and a dog would be attacked in that manner in the open countryside.
Why? I think that's a word on everyone's lips. Detective Chief Inspector Dave Stevens, these are despicable murders. The intention was to slaughter almost an entire family.
Yes, it was. It's very hard to find words to describe the horror and brutality of this despicable crime. Lin Russell was bludgeoned over 20 times, probably with a hammer. Any one of those blows would have caused her death. Young Megan, an equal number of blows, each of which could have caused her death. Josephine witnessed that. She witnessed her mother and her sister being killed. They even killed her pet dog.
And she will be able to provide some crucial information, you hope?
Well, I've got to say, and what is good news about this is Josephine has made a remarkable recovery, and I do believe in the very near future she'll be speaking to us.
Now, you have those 3 important leads to follow up, all within about half an hour of the murder. Crucially, the one of the chap acting very strangely beside the parked car.
Yes, he was acting strangely and for some considerable length of time, about 10 minutes. The thing that's so crucial about that is that we found the towel in which contains the blood of our victims.
Now, another beige or light-coloured car was seen about 15 minutes earlier, and the driver behind that car was able to give you a very good description of the driver. A
very good description indeed. He was described as in his 20s or 30s, fair complexion, ruddy. Perhaps the most noticeable feature about him was his hair. It was light in colour, perhaps even ginger, with a noticeable fringe, and he was wearing a red T-shirt.
Do you think the car was the same in both situations?
I think there's every chance it was. It wasn't very far away, and it was described very similarly.
So what did the car look like, actually?
The car was light in colour, medium-sized, perhaps an escort-type vehicle. I think one of the most prevalent features about it was an anti-static strip, which is basically a piece of rubber that comes down from the back bumper onto the road to avoid travel sickness. Think it might have had a GB sticker, probably quite old, maybe a B-registered car. Headrests with oblong holes.
Now, the other sighting near Chillenden village, a different description of a man, but possibly involved as well.
It was a different description. This could be a vital witness. It also could suggest maybe there were two offenders.
Now, I know you've made appeals over the weeks for several witnesses to come forward, more information, but at the end of the day today, you want to make a very personal appeal, don't you?
I do indeed. I would appeal to anybody who may be a family member, maybe a close friend of the person responsible for this. When this happened, I think blood would have appeared on clothing. I think maybe the offender could be injured. But I think psychologically, this person must be damaged in some way. And my appeal tonight is anybody who's got the slightest idea at all, please, please come forward. Pick the phone up tonight and call us.
Dave, thank you very much. Well, we all here can only echo that. Please call if you can help, if you have any information. 0500 600 600. It's a free call number here, live to the studio. 0500 600 600, or the incident room in Kent, which has been set up especially for Crimewatch calls. That's 01622 654 321. That's easy to remember. Maidstone 654 321. Which astonished and sickened the whole nation. On a sunlit afternoon, Lin Russell, her daughters Josie and Megan, and their dog Lucy were waylaid as they walked home from school and then slaughtered. Somehow Josie survived, and as you may well have seen on the news today and in the newspapers, Kent Police have asked us to make another full-scale national appeal. It includes parts of what we showed you last year, but it's now enriched with new witness information. Above all, there's what Josie herself has been able to contribute.
Oh, right. In those early days, I wasn't sure at all that she would survive. So the fact that you now see a bouncy little happy girl is, well, miraculous, really, was the only word I could think of to describe it. Right from stage one, I thought, if I've got to care for a brain-damaged child who is totally incapable, doesn't worry me, that's what I will do. Now, I'm coping with a child who gives me the real runaround. I mean, I'm very happy that she is showing the normal ups and downs of any child of her age. Show us how high you can go.
No, I can just go up there.
Yeah? Right, I'll look after your sweets and I promise not to eat them.
Okay, I'll go up and down. Okay?
Yeah.
It's this. Here.
People have talked about her having an engaging mix of girlishness and sort of tomboy-like traits, but I think that's quite a nice mixture in a child, especially of her age.
3, 3. 10 is.
Very fair.
It's very difficult sometimes to remember that this child has had this massive head injury. And there have been times when I've been utterly amazed at her recall and how she's been able to show us what's happened, and even more amazed, absolutely staggered and really taken aback that she's actually been able to put it into words now. She's never really deviated from what she's been showing us. Now, of course, she's actually able to talk and verbalise about what did happen to her. And that's made it even more chilling, really.
So how many lengths did you have to swim?
100 metres.
Really? My goodness me, that's a long way.
So this then is what can now be pieced together. Tuesday, July the 9th, coming home from school in Goodnestone between Canterbury and Deal. Josie remembers the journey. With both parents being scientists, it was always something of a nature trail.
So when's your next swimming class? Oh, that's lovely.
Next week.
Next week.
Okay.
A woman driving on their route remembers that day too. She stopped because of hay fever and saw a woman, 2 children and a dog join Buckland Lane, the Aylsham to Staple Road. Josie has now confirmed they walked that way that afternoon. It should be 30 minutes walk from school to home with just this short stretch of road and then back across the tracks between the fields.
Look at you, you're so scruffy.
Just before they turned off, a local teacher saw them.
I always travel home from my work in the afternoons along a lane that runs from the back of Goodnestone to Chillenden. As I passed the end of Cherry Garden Lane, I looked down. I saw a figure in green or brown clothes. It was unusual seeing anyone there, and what I especially remember are these bright skipping figures trotting along in the sunlight.
You look lovely. And scruffy too.
I drove on past Nucket's Wood and I saw, pretty sure it was on that day, an orangey red car.
She was surprised to find the car was empty. It's a strange place to want to park.
Don't know.
No sign of your woodpecker today, is there?
No.
And now the startling evidence from Josie.
Josie, get back. There's a car coming. What are you doing?
Got any money?
No, I haven't got anything with me.
I want some money.
Well, look, I'll go home and get you some.
No.
Josie. Josie, go, run.
Josie says the man ran after her and caught her. She was taken with the others through the trees. They were tied up. The dog was strung up by its lead, and the man then began to beat them with a hammer. A little later, a local resident had to slow down as a car pulled out in front of her. It was coming from the direction of the murder scene.
Come on.
Looking at.
He was staring hard at her, and she vividly recalls his face. This is the e-fit she compiled last year, and police today revealed that Josie has been shown this and says it's very like the man who ambushed and attacked her. He's in his 30s with chubby cheeks. His hair was gingery blonde and straight with a short fringe. Hours later, when the massacre had been discovered, it seemed everyone was dead. But a doctor found Josie still had a pulse.
You're used to seeing your child as a bright, fairly perfect individual, and when you see someone battered black and blue, covered in blood and stitches and, so they're virtually unrecognisable. It was only Josie's freckles that told me it was her at all and not her sister, because I didn't know when we first went to the hospital which one of the girls it was going to be awaiting me there. But it's a terrible thing just by chance that she is the one who survived, that she is the one who, it's all had to happen to her. Yes, the main victims were my wife and Megan. They died. But Josie is a victim who's had to suffer then and now and further into the future.
A chilling and tragic account, as Sean Russell says, made it even more so because Josie actually remembers what happened. Dave Stevens, a year has passed. You still haven't found the murderer. How have the public helped you in that year?
The public really have helped enormously. Their support has been overwhelming. We pieced together a story which hasn't led to the killer. We still haven't received that vital piece of information that's led to an arrest.
But Josie has now been able to talk. She's been able to give you the information that she can remember. How is that going to help?
She's helped in many ways. In particular, she describes the killer. She describes the killer as looking very similar to our e-fit.
In his 20s or 30s?
That's right. She also describes the car, which is similar to other descriptions that we've had, although the colour is somewhat different. Josie certainly describes a red car, but of course witnesses, non-traumatised witnesses, can get colours wrong, of course.
And what about the motive and his manner? What did she say about that?
Well, for the first time, we have a description of motive. The man asked for money. Was this a petty thief? Was this a person in the area that was looking to burglar a house, perhaps? Also, there were some other features about this that were very, very interesting. There were things about his demeanour. He was very calm when he first approached Lin and the children. And also, when he was binding Josie, he actually said, "Are they too tight? Are your bindings too tight?" Is this a man who's obviously overtly violent? Maybe not.
Possibly a man, if it is to be believed, with a milligram of compassion in a situation like
Perhaps,
this.
yes. Perhaps, as I say, it's not somebody who's obviously violent.
Now, a year has passed, as we've said. People have had plenty of time to come to you with information. You haven't had that vital shred of evidence. Who are you appealing to tonight?
Well, I'm really appealing to anybody with information, however small. People do say, well, I don't want to waste the police time. But of course, we are the best judge of that. A small piece of information linked with other information could cause the vital breakthrough. But in particular, I think I'm appealing to somebody who may have an idea as to who the killer is. Perhaps a wife or a mother or a close friend. It takes an enormous amount of courage to come forward, to come to the police and say, I think it is a particular individual. Can I reassure the public that your call will be treated in confidence? Your safety is paramount to us. We've trained officers who will take that call. Please, can I implore you to come forward, pick up that phone now and give us that information.
Dave Stevens, thank you very much. There is forensic evidence which can actually eliminate the person if it isn't that man. Now, please don't hesitate. We obviously have to catch this person. 0500 600 600. That's our free call number here to DCI Dave Stevens and his colleagues. Or call the incident room on 01622 654 321. It'd be wonderful if we could catch this person 1 year on today. That's Maidstone 654 321.
Lin Russell and the savage attack on Josie. We can tell you more about what led to his arrest. It was Crimewatch's second appeal on the case, the first to produce new witnesses, but frankly by now the inquiry had almost run into the ground. So this time we pieced together all the clues about the killer's habits, and specifically we appealed for psychiatrists or anyone who might recognise the patterns of behaviour. One psychiatrist called in, startled by the similarities with a former patient. The name he gave, Michael Stone, was new to the inquiry and immediately caused a flurry of interest. Stone had been seen with blood on his shirt and had burned his clothing from that day, but couldn't explain why. He knew the remote area where the killings had taken place. He had an appalling history of psychopathic violence and specifically attacks with hammers. On an idyllic summer afternoon, he destroyed a happy family of the sort he'd never had himself.